I think we'll be able to make it there. 160, 150 defenders. It looks like we'll make it there and have good daylight for this siege. We've had a subscriber request recently to go along with our city and castle defense series, a siege defense of DANUSTICA. Got to tell our pacifist nobles here to shut the fuck up. And we should be able to make it in. It's good because there's not going to be much of a garrison, so we're going to be badly outnumbered here by the Khazate. Our army, I should mention this, is an incredibly elite army, and there's no way around this. I don't have any cities or castles nearby here with a garrison in it, so this is just going to have to do. I'll explain more about this army once we get this siege going here. And this should be ordinarily an extremely difficult siege, but with this elite army, and of course this character from this side campaign, we might just be able to pull this off. Hugh the Hammer and 458 defenders against 3,200 Khazate. All right, the reason we're doing here DANUSTICA with this army is that you can't do this with the custom battle menu. It's really strange. Almost every single city and castle is available in the custom battle menu, but for whatever reason, DANUSTICA is not. I searched multiple times. I don't know if my game is bugged or whatever, but it's just not available. And this interesting large Southern Empire city demands some attention here. So right away, right, when I start doing siege these days, I identify my initial strategy of weakening or destroying one of the enemy's side, right? We are going to target that siege tower there on the right. If we can destroy that, that'll mean the enemy access is only here at the front door and the left. We've got some fire catapults we can add to their misery, and then we could start working on our troop alignment and defense. I'll mention these as we lay these out because most cities and siege defenses, castle siege defenses really come down to pre-positioning of your troops and having a plan beforehand. I think we'll run 3 infantry. Actually, let's run 4 infantry divisions here. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th with 4 archer divisions, 4 range divisions. Of course, the guys at the gate, we have an elite division of elite cataphract and whatnot. Like I said, I'll mention more about this army once this siege gets going. But you just need to know it's very high end. Ordinarily, you're not going to be able to defend 8-1. Even with excellent tactics, like in the custom battle menu, I would do like 6-1 at worst. Now, we've got a weaker division there, the 4th. There's some militia in there that's left over from the forces that we're holding out here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have that 1st division block the gate and the 4th division slightly offset from it. 2nd division is skirmishers. We're going to defend this left side up on the walls, but we're not going to defend it like the AI does, right in front of the ladders. We're going to offset some units right here. This will both protect my fire catapult area, even though I'm aware they have trebuchets. We'll have to watch to see how much trebuchet damage they do. But these guys in a shield wall, this line of strong infantry, should be able to fend off enemy arrows. And then I have a shock troop division as well. I think we'll get up on that open space on the ramparts. I like to have an argument ready for the enemy if they start pouring up the walls on siege tower or in this case on siege ladders. And of course we'll position archers in the courtyard. So at least one big archer division here, crossbow division. And the reason I say crossbow division is most of those guys have a shield, right? We've assigned them the shield. The reason I've started doing that is if I need to spare some of those guys for a square, I can do so, right? Those shields can be readily added to an infantry square, and it's now a bigger infantry square, right? I've started to divide that. One more tip. Here's another little tip I've started doing. We'll give you zoomed in here. As long as they don't have shields, the UI is giving me a little bit of a problem here. Those fucking urinary infections. We will line these guys up in a shield wall, which seems counterintuitive, but they're archers. They don't have a shield, and so they will still shoot, even if they're packed in tightly like that. What that does, of course, is it maximizes your firepower there. Now, over here, we want 2 different archer divisions to defend. Let's see, I can get a big, long division down here because we are going to defend these stairwells if the enemy starts pouring up the ladders. Let me rephrase. So when they start pouring up the ladders. Now, I can put another archer division I like using this back wall here. Anytime you can have a positioning, look at that, guys are down the stairs even. Anytime you can have positioning where they have a little bit of protection, these guys have no protection, but the rest, they have that wall. It's going to protect them from catapults. It's also going to protect them a little bit from archery. That looks like a good setup. So again, our plan, destroy the siege tower on the right, focus on the left, flame some people with the fire catapult. I've got this shock troop division, and I'm tucking them against the back wall here because I want to make sure they're not visible to the archers outside, right? These guys are getting shot. I'm having all kinds of interface issues this siege. I don't know. Oh, that's part of the thing. They're in a square. There we go. See, they're tucked now against that back wall. They largely can't be shot, and those guys can be put to use if the enemy starts to overwhelm this left side. So basic principles here, keeping some archers in the courtyard. I will show you, we'll bottle up the stairs at some point or other on the left there. Attacking the enemy at the gate with that offset shield wall line of archers. And then, of course, a bunch of crossbow behind it, which, again, we're probably going to steal and put some infantry on there. Now, of course, destroying siege towers, priority numero uno, right? And, oh, I thought that we had a perfect shot right away. Usually with the siege skill, good siege skill, 3 or 4 shots at most with the fire catapult, and it'll go down. Motherfuckers shot my horse. I'm going to pay for that shit. Fucking shoot my horse. Now my horse is fucking going crazy behind me here. Get out of here. Sometimes you worry your horse is going to mess things up, and of course it's a target being shot at by the enemy. I would just prefer it fucked off. All right, so we're missing here early on. We're showing what an amateur we are at siege. I've got some incredible locations of enemies that are just stacked up in big piles. We have the battle size mod going, so the enemy has an insane amount of enemies on the battlefield. Their army is very high end because we are using the strength and AI mod, so it's just legionary and dark hands. I can see even at a distance, this is all elite cataphract and banner knights and stuff like that. Our own army is stacked. In a little 20-second excerpt here while we flame some of the enemy troops. This army is something that I've been kind of working on in my head for a little while. I see arguments and posts on Reddit all the time about what is the ideal Bannerlord army, right? Is it 150 Consguards and 200 elite cataphract, or 150 fiend champs and all legionary and stuff like that? And this is my answer. This is a little bit of I guess a prequel to an upcoming series. We'll probably have 6 to 10 episodes covering different scenarios. We'll do some testing with different types of armies, different scenarios, and I think prove that this mixed army of hand-picked elite troops will be better than an army of 400 Consguards, etc. So you're getting a little bit of a sneak peek here, just because I needed some troops and a save file to defend DANUSTICA. Now the enemy's coming up, but that's good, right? We've got this open area here to our left, a couple more fire catapults, and now it's Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant, NBA style massacre here as the enemy pours into the siege ladders. You'll notice we keep looking up at the sky. That's because the enemy does have trebuchets here, so I'm kind of watching for incoming trebuchet damage. Now, fortunately, trebuchets are not that deadly. There's only one ball, and you kind of got to get unlucky to get hit by it. Nevertheless, right, I'm still going to look out for it. In fact, I just saw one fly to the other side there now. All right, so enemy coming up, and I can hear behind me. They're pounding on that shield wall, right? We put this infantry in a shield wall line. It does 2 things. The first thing it does, of course, is it gives us a little answer here to enemy archers, right? We're going to be able to fend off enemy archers with this shield wall, gather some attention so they don't shoot our archers as much. The second thing it does is it occupies the enemy like it's doing right now, right? It's buying me a little bit of time here to throw fireballs. Now we can start to use it here and set up a death trap. I'm just taking this division that was in shield wall. Oh shit, see that trebuchet almost hit me. And I'm pulling it down the steps here in a square, which probably seems strange. It's like 60 guys, 40 guys now. And we're gonna pack them up as a square on the bottom of the ladder here. In fact, as soon as I can see the enemy coming over the top of the stairs there, we will stop this train square and reposition it kind of right on the square. And the reason you do that is so that they're visible to this 60 archers here. You can see fiend champs and Consguards, and there's javelins being thrown by Battanian wildlings, and the enemy is going to melt. Over here now, the enemy is starting to attack, but this archer line has this line of defense, right? This 3rd Infantry Division. These shock troops look like they did pretty well. I don't see a whole lot of bodies laying on the ground, so they did stay out of line of sight, which is a good spot to position infantry in this situation. Now, just going to bash this force real quick before we reposition here. I'm just going to pull this Arch Division and the 3rd Corps down the stairs, right? We don't need to fight on the walls. These archers aren't deriving a lot of advantage from here. We'll pull these guys down, and just like the other side, we're going to put archers down here in the courtyard, and then infantry in a square, shield wall, whatever, at the base of that ladder. And we'll go really revisit that at some point. I wish these were destroyable. If these were destroyable, my guys would have better line of sight. Ironically, this is an impediment to our strategy here. Some of our crossbow can't shoot, but that shield wall line over there can, and just like we were hoping, every guy over there is shooting. It's something, believe it or not, that I've learned refinement on Bannerlord after 12,000 hours of playing Bannerlord, or at least 12,000 hours ostensibly of playing. That's what the Steam app says. I've learned this recently, that if you want to compact firepower into this situation, you don't have a big courtyard, which is exactly what we need to do. You can do a shield wall. As long as none of the units have shields, they will shoot. Now, if you have a companion in there that has a shield, they won't shoot, right? What you got to do is put them in line formation and tell them to stop. But look at this. These guys are right next to each other, and because of that, there's a huge amount of damage being dealt out in this small area. Now, the militia's guarding them over there, right? Any enemies that come over is kind of intercepted by this little weaker infantry division. And the reason you put them there... Man, I can't get that guy. The reason you put them there is you don't want your militia being obliterated, but you want to use them on some level, right? And so in this situation, just like in real life, you would give militia a little bit of an easier duty. The stronger infantry division here is holding off the main enemy assault, and the infantry division, the militia, can hold off the weaker division. Now, I'm going to bring some troops over here. I'm not thrilled about how many foes are coming through the gate. And it is a high-powered enemy army, right? They're starting to overwhelm the square a little bit. Like I said before, we have the 5th Division of crossbow that's behind me, and they're shooting. They're not shooting as well as I'd like them to because there are fucking barriers in their way. And we made steel troops from them and stick them in this square at the gate. You know, basically your sharpshooter is almost as good as any melee infantry in a square because they're just holding up their huge Pavis shield. It's just a really nice way to augment an infantry division. And of course, they could be shooting for the first 10 minutes of a battle like this. Now, the enemy's starting to overwhelm this square. What we're going to do here is fatten up this square and shove it in the gate. First, we got to clean this up just a little bit. In situations like this, of course, a lot of players, you'll panic, right? It's very tempting to panic. They got cons guards and shit running through here. I'm just trying to clear out a little bit of the riffraff here, smash some of these guys in the face, and then we will fix this hole. You can see it's chaos here, right? So we're going to stick a big old fat square in the gate. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to steal some of this 5th Corps, using the infantry here, the militia infantry, very briefly, and just positioning it directly in front of the wall. And I'm going to steal some of this 5th Division. So F3, F5. We're going to make that 1st Division 50-something guys again, right? It's 50 guys-ish. And I'm putting it directly in front of the gate, right? Between these guys and the militia, we will now have a very large press of shields that'll allow us to start to plug the gap here, right? When you get a huge breach like this, the most important thing, envision your house. If it's flooding, you need to stop the water coming in first before you start to clean it up. So first, we shove the square in front of the gate, and now we've got all this riffraff here. What can we do? This 8th Corps is standing right here. Charge, hold fire. And what that'll do is all of those guys that are sneaking through are going to get charged now by this line of archers. They're not all elite archers, but there's some Bienschamps in there, some cons guards, some other units, and that should clean up the riffraff here and stop what looks like a bad situation. On that far side, the 3rd Corps is holding the line pretty well. This side over here, the square in the 2nd Division is doing a beautiful job. Those guys are totally penned up. And now let's go look at the gate. Look at this shit. The 8th Corps has cleaned it up. They're now charging the gate. The square has done its job. And look at that. That was a total breach. In fact, it's almost like that one tactic alone just made the enemy's morale crater. They had a big breach. And like a boss, right? Like with some quick tactics there, saved the day. This nice division over here gunned down everything else, and the Kazate melt into a puddle of blood and carcasses on the ground. All right, so DANUSTICA siege defense here. This is a custom request. I like doing this shit, of course, unless I just did the episode a week or a month ago. If you guys want to see a particular city or village defended, a village, yeah, actually villages can be defended. City, castle, village, anything like that. Let me know. Put it in the comments, fellas. I like doing that shit. It's fun for me to accept challenges down the road, especially with the advance of the new expansion pack. I'd like to do more and more situations where people can't win a battle or can't turn a situation around, where you guys send me a save file and I do my very best to get you out of a bad situation. Give you examples of how to overcome your difficulties. All right, so if you want to see more, you want to subscribe, of course, hit notifications. That way you know when new videos come out. Hit that like button, leave any comments like I said. And with all that said, fellas, I appreciate you guys, and I will see you next time.